Hi, I'm Ruby. Check this out. It's a real tattoo. Do you want to know who Danny is? Subscribe and hit the like button then. My boyfriend Danny was very important to me. When we were kids, his family moved in the house next door to us. One evening, I saw him drawing with crayons through the window and I approached him. Wow, that's Olaf from Frozen! He's my favorite character. The boy turned red like a tomato and tried to hide the drawing from me. I told him it was great and he had nothing to be embarrassed about. Really? I never lie. But why are you here alone at such a late hour? He sighed and admitted he always snuck out when his parents fought. I invited him over. We spent the evening having fun and watching cartoons. From that moment on, we became inseparable and spent all our time together. We studied and dreamed together. Years went by and we grew up. To be honest, I saw him as more than a friend, but I was too shy to admit it. We used to hang out in my backyard a lot. I would play the flute while Danny painted. He was talented as hell, but for some reason, he didn't believe in himself. So I always tried to cheer him on. Why did you tear up your drawing? Because it was awful. You dummy. One day, you'll become a famous artist and open your own gallery. You'll see. Thank you, Ruby. You're amazing. I played in the school orchestra, and Danny didn't miss a single one of my concerts. One day, I introduced him to my best friend Camilla. She was a talented cellist and had gorgeous hair like Rapunzel. Sometimes the three of us hung out together. But then, I realized that Camilla had fallen for Danny. They were my best friends, and I didn't want to stand in their way. So I told Danny that if he liked Camilla back, I wouldn't mind if they became an item. But he smiled mysteriously and handed me his sketchbook. What's this? This is where I keep drawings of my muse. She's the only girl that I'm interested in. I opened the sketchbook and I saw tons of drawings of me. Danny took my hands into his and said that he'd been in love with me for a long time. He asked me out. At that moment, I was the happiest girl in the world. I told him I felt the same way. For a while, everything was great, but Danny's parents kept fighting like crazy. And one day, I found out that his dad had left. Now, Danny and his mom would have to pay off his debts. They were crushed because it meant they would have to sell their house. Danny stopped believing in himself again. They'll probably take away our house and I'll have to work as a waiter to pay for college. I tried to convince him that he was too talented for that to go unnoticed, but he wouldn't listen to me. So I decided it was time to act. I took some of Danny's sketches without asking him for permission and headed to a design studio. I showed his sketchbook to the owner of the studio and I asked if they could take my friend on as an intern. After all, he was in great need of money. The owner loved Danny's sketches, but he also said that he couldn't hire a high schooler with no experience. Oh, devastated, I wandered home. All of a sudden, a strong gust of wind snatched Danny's sketchbook from out of my hands. This definitely was not my day. I ran down the street, frantically gathering the scattered drawings. One of them got stuck in a tree branch. Damn it, it's too high up. To my surprise, a huge tattooed man came up to me. He quite easily reached for the drawing and then looked at it, curious. Clear lines, a steady hand, an original style. You're quite good at this. Then that giant snatched the rest of the drawings out of my hand and checked them out too. Yeah, you definitely have a talent, girl. Hey, give those back. They're my friend's sketches. Does your friend by any chance want to earn some extra money? Actually, he does. What did you have in mind? The man said his name was Barry, handed me his business card with an address, and said that he would explain everything to the artist. And then he got into a cool car and drove away. Barry didn't inspire much confidence, but he was obviously rich and successful. So I decided that Danny should take that chance. Later, I told him about everything. At first, my boyfriend was pretty mad. I can't believe you showed someone my sketches without asking my permission. However, I eventually convinced him to not miss the opportunity to earn some money doing what he loved. The next day, I missed a rehearsal to go to the address on the business card with Danny. To my surprise, we found ourselves in a sort of biker shop. There was a big guy by the door and he wouldn't let us in. He wouldn't even budge until I showed him the business card. Oh, Barry sent you. Well, come on in. He led us to the basement. Coming there seemed like a worse idea by the minute. But then, Danny and I stepped into… Wow, a tattoo parlor! Barry was from there. He told us that the place was so well hidden because only the most famous and rich people from the city came there to get tattoos. And then, he said Danny could try his hand as a tattoo artist. I've seen your sketches. You have a unique style and a talent. I could teach you the rest. Danny shook his head and said he had never even held a tattoo gun in his life, but Barry promised to teach him everything. I tried to convince Danny to at least give it a try. Come on, Danny. You could make a good living doing what you're great at. Besides, very few people would agree to hire a minor. In the end, we managed to convince him to become Barry's student. After that, Danny started coming to the parlor every day. At first, he just watched the other masters work, and then he tried doing something himself. I was always there for him. Unfortunately, I had to skip rehearsals to do that. Danny was getting better and better, and soon he did his first tattoo without any help. The client was over the moon, and my boyfriend got paid well. We celebrated it at a pizzeria. I was so proud of my boyfriend. He used his first paycheck to buy me a new flute case. Ruby, thank you for believing in me. Things were looking up. Danny was getting better by the day. He had no end of customers. So he made good money and soon paid off the debt for the house and bought me a bunch of amazing gifts. He finally gained confidence, and it showed. Wow. Hello there, rock star. Unfortunately, fairy tales always come to an end, and the ending isn't always a happy one. Soon, Danny was spending all of his time at the parlor. We saw each other less and less often, and one day, he even missed my concert, even though he'd promised to come. He isn't answering his phone. What if something happened? Then, my friend came up to me and said she had bad news for me. I'm sorry, Ruby, but I just saw your Prince Charming in a cafe with a famous model. What? I didn't believe Camille. Danny would never do that. But I still felt uneasy, so I decided to check just in case. I went to that cafe and saw something that made my eyes start twitching. My boyfriend really was flirting with some girl there. I stormed up to their table and started screaming like a psycho. You have 3 seconds to explain yourself or else. Ruby, what's gotten into you? You're embarrassing me. Danny took me aside and said that he'd missed my concert because he got contacted by a VIP client. We were just discussing a sketch. I'm sorry I didn't come, but that girl is a supermodel and she's willing to pay a tidy sum for my work. Oh, I was still upset at Danny because he could have at least texted me he wasn't coming. However, I decided not to act like a jealous idiot and left. I had been missing out on a lot of rehearsals lately, so Camilla came over one evening to help me out. But all I could think about was my boyfriend, so I couldn't focus. Pull yourself together, Ruby. Don't risk your future because of that bastard. Camille told me again that she had seen Danny with a bunch of different girls lately. Ugh, that pissed me off. Are you trying to break us up? I know you like Danny. We fought and she left. Fine, stay delusional. I have enough problems as it is. Of course, deep down, I knew something was wrong. Danny hung out with different girls a lot and was constantly texting someone. But I didn't want to believe that he was cheating on me. Then, one day, Danny started flirting on the phone with some model when we were on a date. That was the last straw for me. I couldn't stand it any longer and went ballistic. Relax, baby. All these girls are my clients. I have an idea. I could give you a tattoo of my name. It would be a symbol of our special bond and eternal love. I'd never really wanted a tattoo and hoped to get into a prestigious conservatory. Tattoos weren't allowed there. Of course, I refused, and that pissed Danny off. You don't trust me at all. I guess our relationship isn't as important to you as I thought. For several days, I was beside myself with anger. But then, I started to worry that I had truly hurt Danny. I had always been his muse. Maybe if I agreed to get the tattoo, things would go back to the way they used to be. In the end, I gave up and agreed. Danny was glowing with happiness. That's how I got this tattoo. It does look great, doesn't it? For a while, our relationship really did get better. My boyfriend started to spend time with me again and treated me like a queen. But that didn't last long. One day, I came to the tattoo parlor without warning him and saw my boyfriend giving a model a tattoo. They were flirting and clearly enjoying each other's company. Of course, Danny tried to say that he was just doing his job again, but his excuses sounded fake to me. I decided that it was time for desperate measures. If I caught him cheating, he wouldn't be able to make excuses anymore. So that's what I did. I hid in the closet in his workshop and turned on the camera on my phone. Okay, let's see what you're hiding from me, Danny. Soon, he came in with some girl. They were joking and flirting, unaware that I could see them. I heard they call you the most talented master in town, babe. So, will you give me a tattoo? I'm not sure that's a good idea, Claire. You're still a minor and I could get into trouble. Don't be a chicken, baby. Dad let me get a tattoo. Not only did Claire call my boyfriend baby, but she also kissed him. And then I finally realized they had been dating behind my back for a long time. My heart was broken. I jumped out of the closet and shook my phone in the air. I saw it all, Danny. What do you have to say for yourself now, huh? I'm tired of you, Ruby. So, I'm glad you found out about everything. His words hurt me so much that tears stung my eyes. I ran home, locked myself in my room, and cried until I ran out of tears. I got really depressed and skipped even more rehearsals. A few days later, Camilla came over. I know we had a fight, but I'm worried about you. Where have you been? I told my friend about everything that had happened, and I apologized for the way I'd acted when she tried to help me. Danny is a vile traitor. I can't believe I agreed to get a tattoo of his name. Camilla hugged me and helped me make an appointment with a new tattoo artist. That's when I finally noticed that my friend had lost her gorgeous hair. I asked her what happened to her. While you were having problems with Danny, I was dealing with some drama too. Thanks to Camilla's help, I finally came to my senses. I was still miserable, but I came back to school and the rehearsals. When I finally got back on my feet, my ex suddenly showed up again. Danny, what do you want? Oh, Ruby, you've got to help me. He looked scared and said that Claire's father had turned out to be a big deal. He was furious when he found out that Danny had given his daughter a tattoo. And now, Danny was knee-deep in problems. I'm sorry, but you deserve it. I don't care about your problems anymore. I slammed the door in his face and I went up to the room. I decided I would throw away all of Danny's gifts so nothing would remind me of him. But then I came across the sketchbook in which he used to draw his muse, me. The memories made me tear up. We had been through a lot together, after all. I decided to help Danny because we used to be friends. I went to Claire's father and I showed him the video in which his daughter told Danny her dad had allowed her to get a tattoo. The man was displeased, but he forgave Danny. Still, he forbade him from approaching Claire. When my ex found out that I'd helped him, he came to me with a huge cloud of balloons and got on his knees. Ruby, forgive me. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Please be my muse again. I was deeply moved by his apology, and I decided to give him another chance. But he didn't use it. A week later, I caught him with some model again. Danny turned pale and tried to come up with an excuse. But to my surprise, I didn't feel anything. I didn't want to scream or cry. I just accepted that people don't change. Danny didn't deserve me, so I broke up with him. I focused on my future and hung out with my real friends. People like Camille. I'm sorry, I gotta take this. Ruby, hi. I'm the tattoo artist who you made an appointment with. Thanks, but I've decided to leave my tattoo. You heard right. Remember I told you that this tattoo means a lot to me at the beginning of the video? I want it to serve as a reminder for the rest of my life that not all people deserve forgiveness. And recently, I found out that that tattoo parlor was illegal. It got closed. Barry is going to stand trial, and Danny is in trouble again. What do you think about tattoos? Tell me in the comments down below.